Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Friday, April 4th. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Texas game in 148 days, the game against Michigan in 239 days. If you're planning your next event, make it unforgettable with Grateful Griddle, Columbus's favorite food truck, serving up smash burgers, gourmet sandwiches, and good vibes. Book your catering today at gratefulgriddleoh.com. Joined by Kevin Noon of BuckeyeHuddle.com. Yeah, he's over there too. They're all around here somewhere. Here inside the Woody Hayes Athletic Center, the vibes very good today inside the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. The Buckeyes just landed another commitment for the second time this week. They've landed a commitment who could plausibly play safety for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, Simeon Caldwell out of the Bowl School in Jacksonville, their second commitment out of that school for this current class, joining the tight end.
Corbin
Fordham, there you go. I was thinking too quickly there. 6'3", $195 in that range. People may sit there and say, is he a safety? Is he a corner? That's up for debate. What's not up for debate is he is kinfolk to Tim Walton. And, we always have, he's family or whatever. This is actual family. He is actually family. We had a chance to speak to him last year on Southern Swing about what family reunions would be like if he didn't go to Ohio State. At least at this point, until he signs and everything else, it sounds like crisis averted.
Yeah, he is the family strife has been pushed aside for at least a little bit. He has an interesting recruiting profile because he's listed as a safety, ranked as a linebacker, and then Tim Walton, who, for obvious reasons, who is the cornerbacks coach, was one of his recruiters, along with Matt Guerrieri, the safeties coach. So, my assumption is he at least starts at safety, and then you sort of see where he goes from there. But this is one where I don't know that they know the answer yet on where he's ultimately going to end up.
Well, and that's the thing. You bring guys in and you think you know where you're going to put them, and then their body decides where you're ultimately going to put them. And you can put somebody on a weight program to gain weight or to lose weight, but what you can't alter is his actual body. I mean, he's going to be 6'3". I mean, he would be a big corner regardless. I mean, he hasn't filled out yet. Still talking about a 17-year-old kid at this point. So, we'll see at that point. And, I think there's also a big concern about what, not to get ahead, just numbers. I mean, when we're not as concerned about the 85 number anymore, we will have to be more concerned about the 105 number. But, what does this mean in terms of the trickle down for Ohio State? Suddenly hot recruiting at the safety position.
Yeah, and you can file that under good problems to have, but this is now 3 commits, assuming you lump him in with the safeties. This is two safety commits, along with
the corner Jacob Weatherspoon.
Well, Jacob Weatherspoon as well, yeah. So, and then Blaine Bradford, the safety who we talked about on a similar show just a few days ago. This is a spot where you would think Ohio State's probably going to be looking to load up a little bit this year. It's not offensive line where it's like, boy, they better take 6 guys. But the way you're recruiting right now, and with the turnover you get in the portal and all that kind of stuff, too many guys is not a problem. Too many guys is a problem that solves itself, it feels like.
It really does. I mean, cream will rise to the top, and with the portal and everything else there, I mean, for a hot minute, we were talking about how this is a safety-driven defense. They're playing 3 safeties. Well, now that's turned to 3 corners with a nickel being more of a corner. But I think a lot of that is determined based on the personnel that you have. And I'm not saying that either Bradford or Caldwell is a nickel, but you can sit there and load up. Ohio State had and obviously Naeem Offord did not end up signing with Ohio State, but you seem to have more guys in the class than you had necessarily starting positions. It happened. So I wouldn't be concerned about Braylon Womack out of Mississippi. I think Ohio State still is sitting in a good spot. Posted a note about him over on the huddle board presented by Jeff Ruby Columbus with some notes that I have on him, so be sure to check it out. We got to keep something behind the paywall. I mean, so sign up to BuckeyeHuddle.com, get all the latest there as we're rapidly approaching the recently renamed spring game with all the recruiting news and everything else.
Yeah, the spring showcase is now the spring game, which is probably going to hopefully incentivize more people to buy tickets, because now you sort of have, they've been talking about it like, yeah, it's going to be a spring game for quite a while. I think they just didn't want to overpromise and underdeliver on that front. In terms of where, how excited should Ohio State fans be in terms of the Simeon Caldwell commitment? he is a 4-star prospect. He's a top 100-ish guy, depending on which service you want to look at. They beat Georgia, Michigan, Notre Dame for his services. I mean, this is a guy who is had his choice of a number of top programs nationally, and you put him next to Blaine Bradford, and boy, all of a sudden Matt Guerrieri is like, boy, that's quite a good safety class.
You sit there and you look at some of the other pieces that they have, just this year with Devin Sanchez at corner. I mean, we're really seeing what the next wave of BIA, or maybe the wave after, just depends how long it takes some of these guys to get to the field, the 25 or the 26s to actually enroll. But there's been so much talk, warranted, of course, of Brian Hartline's recruiting, but I think the two-man tandem in the secondary for Ohio State have done a great job. I mean, it's all Coach Walt. Well, I don't know if it's all Coach Walt. I think that Ohio State is a very hot product to sell right now, and the kids are responding.
Yeah, and this is when you typically you'll typically see the bump from a national championship coming a year or two later. It's not, you weren't going to see that in the 25 class. You're going to see that 26, 27, as these guys are sort of working through their own recruiting process and their own recruiting cycles. This is also a week when Ohio State got some other very, very good news in recruiting, and that was from a guy who's already committed, Chris Henry Jr., who has been traveling the country and seeing the world and spending a lot of time in Eugene, Oregon, and it sounds like maybe that whole thing is done now.
Yeah, he has gone to social media to say he's shut it down. I've had the opportunity to talk to Chris Henry Jr. on multiple occasions. I've never felt he was a game player. I felt he was going to be somebody who's always going to be above board. He never snuck off to take a visit without alerting the staff at Ohio State or whatever. But you want to have all of your commitments not visiting other schools. And that's what Ohio State has now with Chris Henry Jr. It's just going to be scary, especially just the 1 year that they're going to have Jeremiah Smith and Chris Henry Jr. potentially out there at the same time. Oh, and some other really talented players too. Let's not make it the land of the Giants and throw Quincy Porter out there as well. But let me tell you, it's an exciting time for Ohio State recruiting. I know people were a little concerned that they were in a quote-unquote lull. I think we're going to see business really picking up over the next couple weeks going through the spring game.
Yeah, you do tend to see a little bit of a bump through the spring as guys are making visits, and then you'll have a bunch of guys visiting for the spring game, and you typically see a couple of commits after that. And then you'll have camp season, and you'll typically see some commits during June for that. So, you're going to have if you have a flurry of commitments, you can't just have a 12-month flurry of commitments. Otherwise, you run into 105 guy kind of limit issues. So you are going to have some lulls between. But it seems like as you said earlier, business is picking up. This has been a pretty good and pretty solid week overall for Ohio State on the recruiting trail, and more potentially to come. We will be back inside the Woody Hayes Athletic Center on Saturday for the student appreciation practice. We'll have all sorts of photos and videos for you there. We'll do, I'm sure, a post-practice show as well to sort of break down everything we saw, everything we learned. And then a week from now, we've got more interviews early next week. And then a week from Saturday is the spring game, April 12th, inside Ohio Stadium. That'll be happening at noon. Tickets on sale now. And yes, they are now calling it a spring game. They're officially safe to call it a spring game. So you are officially safe to buy your tickets and come out and enjoy some warm spring weather and watch a little Buckeye football. A lot of interesting storylines this spring as the Buckeyes look to replace a lot of those players in that national championship team. We're going to be talking about all of those storylines for you at BuckeyeHuddle.com and YouTube.com/BuckeyeHuddle. We hope to see you both of those places. That will do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.